Just over 14 months ago, I handed in my notice to leave my full-time job in order to run my own marketing agency. And over the past year, I have learned so much. And in this video, I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned and give you a raw insight of what it actually looks like running a marketing agency in 2025. I know a lot of you that are watching this video right now are probably wanting to get into this space, so I just wanted to be as transparent and honest as possible about my experience, and you can take away whatever you want from this video. My name's Conrad and I run a marketing agency, and I've been running it for the past 14 months. I've documented most of my journey on here on YouTube and also on my social media platforms, TikTok and Instagram. So if you're ever in doubt about anything that I say, just go back, watch some of my videos and see the journey that I've come on over the past year. One of the first things that I've noticed and that I've learned is that I have been working a lot more compared to what I used to. When I worked full-time, I ran my dad's business, which is a construction business, a home improvements business, with a managing director. So they had 3 partners. I worked with the managing director within the office. I worked 7 till 3, and I essentially ran the day-to-day activities of the business for the last 2 or so years of my time at the business. As you can imagine, 7 till 3, although I'm technically not a managing director or I'm a director of anything, I'm still running the business, and people and contracts that I'm managing specifically are ringing me, whether it's the subcontractors, whether it's the clients, whether it's leads coming into me specifically for the services that we offer. I need to manage all that, which meant a lot of the times there was no switching off after 3, because although it wasn't my business, although I wasn't a shareholder of the business, I was still managing it. Now I'm running my own business, my days look very different to what they used to look like. Although I did have the ability and luxury of an employee to be able to cut off at a certain time and really not worry about things too much because it's not my business. And 3 o'clock comes, I can go home, turn off my work phone and not really bother. With this and running your own business, there comes the responsibility of being available at most times, especially in the first couple of years of running the business. And I don't really mind that. I remember the managing director would get super frustrated when he'd get a phone call outside of working hours, outside of 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. He'd be fuming, he'd be kicking off, and he'd be constantly saying, oh, this is terrible, I don't want people ringing me at this time. My understanding is that you're a business owner. Yes, in most cases the conversations can wait, but it's about creating a mutual understanding between you and your clients. In a B2B marketing agency, you're a business owner working with other business owners. You're on at all times, no matter what time of the day, whether it's a Saturday, whether it's a Sunday, whether it's a Monday, 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, or 7 o'clock in the morning in many cases. It doesn't matter. You need to be switched on at all times, whether you like it or not, because this game is very, very different to just being an employee, which is what I've learned over the past 12 months. One of the other things that actually impacts my sort of work days and the fact that I work a lot more than I used to is the hesitation of hiring. When I worked for my dad's business, I managed up to about 15 to 20 subcontractors working on multiple projects across multiple different cities or locations. And it was a lot. It was managing a lot of people. So when I started this business, I specifically said to myself that within the first year or 2, I'm actually not going to hire anyone. I want to step back. I don't care about the amount of money that I'm making. I'm not looking to make 50, 100, 150k, whatever it is a month with this agency. I'm happy earning a comfortable income, working for myself, managing things by myself, until recently where I've actually reflected, and I'll cover this in the last point, so make sure to stick around. But I've built the business and I've not really built the lifestyle with it. So in a way, I've built everything and I've just fit myself within that, and anything that I have when it comes to spare time outside of the business, which in most cases there's very, very little, that's what I call my life, I guess. But I'll cover that at the very end. The second point I've learned is that the money is great, especially if you're a one-man team, and in my case, utilizing AI and artificial intelligence and the systems and processes that I have in my agency help me massively make a lot of profit from my service. Now, I utilize AI in most areas of my agency, which allows me to now save a little bit more time, which again slightly contradicts my first point, but I've actually not implemented AI early enough. So I'm a very late adopter, I guess you could say, when it comes to the processes and systems within the agency, which now allow me to save a little bit more time. The service delivery is much more efficient. It's also much better for clients. They're getting better results, which helps everybody, right? I'm using AI in my onboarding, in my client setups, in my service delivery, in the appointment booking, in the screening or qualifying of the leads, in so many different ways, in reporting, in ad account management, and reviewing, and all sorts of different stuff, right? AI is here to stay. You need to utilize it in your agency if you're not already. On that note, I do have a 90-day plan for agency owners that are starting out. Chances are you're probably watching this video thinking of going into this space. I've got a document that's completely for free. There's a link down below in the description. Go and click on it. Have a read through. You'll get basically a 90-day plan of everything and all the lessons that I've learned in my first 90 days of building the agency in order for me to actually leave my full-time job. So I think it's a very useful document. It's completely for free. Just give me your email and your name and you'll get it sent straight to you. Now, keeping clients is one of the things that I found is much harder, especially at the start, compared to signing clients. A lot of people struggle with signing clients, and that's down to the fact that they don't have the knowledge or skill set in order to sign those clients. A lot of the times people ask me on social media about how do you build up the confidence to actually offer the service and how do you get people to pay for the service. Well, you just need to build undeniable confidence in the ability of you being able to deliver the service or whatever that you're offering. And you do that by literally doing the work. So when you do sign clients and you do think that, it's quite hard signing that client, make sure that you focus on your service delivery and your communication with that client, because that's what keeps clients. Good results and communication. One of the positives, which I know I don't want this video to be positives versus negatives of running your own business or marketing agency or whatever, because it's not that. It's just the raw reality of what it is. And you can take away whatever you want from this video, is the fact that I can actually travel to anywhere in the world, as long as, within reason, obviously, as long as there's some sort of internet connection. I can pick up the laptop and I can just deliver the service and deliver the offering that I have for my clients, which this, by the way, has been brilliant. It's allowed me to travel a little bit more. I've been to Greece, I've been to Spain, I've been to Italy, I've been to Poland, I'm actually planning on going to Poland again this year. I've been on multiple different staycations and spa breakaways and all this other stuff, like midweek, just whenever I want, because it helps massively clear up your mind and helps you sort of press the reset button in a way, which is brilliant. In many cases, you don't really get that when you're actually working full time, just due to the fact that, availability, asking people or bosses for a break whenever you want is quite difficult. Although I can't speak from my own experience, I worked for a small business. Maybe when you work corporate, there's more flexibility, there's more trust in employees. I'm not sure. There's a massive sort of thing against 9-to-5s. I'm not really the biggest fan. I like to work on my own business, although you're hearing my experience right now. Maybe it's not for you. It's for me. Equally, I don't think people that actually enter this space of social media marketing, especially in 2025 and beyond, don't understand that this isn't a linear journey of where you'll do 100 outreach messages a day for the next 2 weeks and you'll sign your first client. And whilst yes, it's based on probability of sheer volume that you're putting through, and for whatever reason it should work, it's not always the case. And many times people need to understand that it takes time, it takes discipline, and also one of the most important things that is most often overlooked, it takes resilience. Because if you can't handle 99 no's, and that's not to say that you're going to get 99 and then you'll get your yes. That's to say you're going to get 99 no's and then you'll probably get another 99 no's before anyone ever entertains their conversation with you, especially if the whole industry, the whole model, the whole service delivery of whatever service you go into, whether it's paid social, whether it's paid search, whatever it is that you go into, if you haven't got a Scooby about any of that, it's very difficult to sell it to somebody, especially when your unrealistic sort of expectations have been set by your favorite YouTuber saying that you can easily charge $1,000 a retainer or $2,000 up front and $1,000 retainer in the back of this because that's what everybody else does. In reality, it's very different. Yes, don't allow my opinion or this whole entire video to sort of put limiting beliefs on you of the fact that you can't charge that, because yes, you can definitely charge that, but if you're a beginner, it's very difficult. So just put your money where your mouth is. And this is something that I always say to people when they're starting out, and I did this and I know it's worked and I know it still works, is just put your money where your mouth is. Work for free or work based on the results that you deliver. Just charge for what you can actually control. And in many cases, you're going to build up good relationships with people and sign more clients and actually keep those clients, as long as, again, your service delivery or your results and your communication is on point. I think one of the things that made the biggest difference when it comes to my whole entire journey over the past 12 to, I mean, the journey started a lot sooner, in all honesty. There was a lot of self-development being done prior to even really starting any of the social media stuff, and a lot of YouTube videos being watched on the basis of, maybe one day I'll get into this. And I've attempted multiple times, but actually one of the most key things and something that I changed in my life was my circle of friends and my environment, which was my immediate environment of anything that I would consume on social media, anything that I would read, anything that I would eat, anyone that I would actually speak to, and anywhere where I would, I guess you could say, live, right? Ever since changing those things, and yes, it's, I guess, in a way sad because you're drifting away from people that you're supposed to call friends and best friends, and you're moving away from wherever you've always lived and all these other things, but you're just on a journey that is different to everybody else, and that's completely fine. They're taking one path, you're taking the second path. That doesn't mean those paths are never going to cross again. That just simply means that it's a different chapter in life, and the quicker you can change your environment and allow that environment to shape you, which that's what actually happens. Like, if you're in a bad environment, if you're hanging around with bums, if you're spending most of your time doing stupid stuff, if you're not learning, if you're not consuming good food, if you're not taking care of your health, your mental well-being, your physical health, you're going to end up like everybody else when it comes to the goals, and you're not going to succeed, and they'll just be dreams. And yes, you might think, oh, he's delusional thinking like this, but that's the reality. If you actually commit to chasing your goals, commit to becoming the best version of yourself, and sort of be like 1% better, like the Atomic Habits book says, if you just become 1% better every single day, you'll have undeniable evidence that you're the person that you say you are. And that's that. Not because you're better than them, not because you're doing something that's worth more than what they're doing. It's just as simple as two different paths in life, which is completely fine. But the moment I changed my environment, the moment I moved away from a hometown, the moment I stopped speaking to individuals that wouldn't necessarily drag me down, but in a way they did, because they took me away from my focus, took my energy away into something else that actually I didn't necessarily want to do, but it was just part of socializing, is the moment I started making the most progress within what I'm actually doing, which takes us on to the final point, which I mentioned at the very start. And it's actually to build the life you want whilst you're building the business, and not build the business and then your life around the business, which is what I've done, and I've fallen into this trap over the past 12 or so months. And I've only just realized this over the past sort of month or so, which is why I'm implementing a lot more of AI, which is why I'm looking at hiring people regardless of my previous people's management, PTSD, I guess you could say. And I guess you're the creator of your own life, so don't build a business and then your life around that business, because you'll always be almost a prisoner of your own business. Build your life and then build the business that supports that life, and I promise you, you're going to be very happy. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, it would mean a lot to me if you left me a comment maybe of what you actually thought was useful, what you found valuable, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.